Are you hungry?
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Görgött. Today we're making Carabinero, but we're making them kind of Japanese inspired with the Yuzu Kosho Beurre Blanc and some Japanese pepper, and we're also going to use some chili oil. Yuzu Kosho is kind of a fermented mix of yuzu fruit and chilies. Really nice, not too spicy, a lot of sour freshness to it, and that's what we'll use for the Beurre Blanc. But before we have a look at the ingredients we have here on the board, do me the favor, support the channel if you're not doing so yet by clicking the subscribe button and checking the bell icon to get notifications. But now let's have a look at the board. Obviously our beautiful Carabinero. We have 3 of them. It's going to be like a starter portion, so 1 per person. We have a mix, a classical Beurre Blanc mix. It's 1 part vinegar to 2 part white wine. We have about 100 grams of cold butter for the Beurre Blanc. We have our Yuzu Kosho. You can buy that in a well-stocked Asia store or Japanese store. We have our Japanese pepper. And we have our chili oil. Now the chili oil, it's ready-made. I've made it before. If you want to see me make it, leave a comment below. But I'll also put the link to an episode where I made it up here. But the first thing we need to do is turn your oven to 250 degrees Celsius because we're going to roast the shells. So once we peel these Carabineros, we're going to roast the shells and then we're going to make the Beurre Blanc reduction with the roast shells. So let's get started on the peeling. As always, just break off the head. You see, this is good if you can get that with you. Not that part, but this part, because that's the intestine. Then you don't have to worry too much about trying to get it out afterwards. There as well, you see it. Like that, that's perfect. Because you know, I've showed you a couple of times how you have to otherwise go in with a knife at the bottom of the tail and try to get it out that way. But like this, it's perfect, it's stuck with the head. Now just peel these. Put the peel in here as well. And then we'll roast this peel to get a nice, wonderful flavor into the Beurre Blanc reduction. It's going to be fantastic. I will see you in a couple of minutes once this is done. Don't want to bore you with it. Now just get an oven tray. Put the peel on there and into the oven it goes. And I would just roast them for 20-25 minutes until they're nice and roasted. Quite high temperature, 250 degrees. Now we can continue prepping these. We're going to thread them on steel skewers. And this is just to keep them straight when we're cooking them. The easiest is to just hold it flat. And then be a bit careful when you go in. Like that. Like that it will stay relatively straight when we fry it. So do all 3 of them. If you don't have these steel rods, you can use thin wooden sticks as well. So our Carabinero tails are prepped. Now we just need to wait until the roasting of the shells is done. So see in about 20-25 minutes. We have our wine and vinegar mix and we have our roasted shells. The heads are the most important, but we'll just fill it up. Like that. So now what we have to do is put that on the stove and reduce until there's almost no liquid left. When you would make a normal Beurre Blanc, you would put in like shallots, some peppercorns, but we want this taste of the shells of the Carabinero, so we'll just leave that. So we'll get that out on there, reduce it, and then I'll show you how we'll finish off the sauce. I'll show you here. I reduced this to about, I would say, 1/5 now. We're going to get rid of the big heads before we strain it. So like this makes it easier. And now I preheated this pot. That's why I have the, what do you call this? The thing so that you don't burn your hands. We have our cold butter. Put some of our butter in. We have our mixer. And I will mix this. Add some more butter. It's about 100 grams for the 3 deciliter of liquid we had to start with. So, put this to the side. Now we haven't added any salt, no Yuzu Kosho yet. That's pretty damn good. Now some salt, some Yuzu Kosho, and then we'll have a kick-ass Beurre Blanc. A good pinch of salt, 1.5. And a good teaspoon of Yuzu Kosho. And we'll mix this again. Now the taste. Perfect. You could add a little bit more Yuzu Kosho if you want, but already now you have the nice freshness of the yuzu and a little bit of the heat of the chili. So our Beurre Blanc is done. I'll put it back on the stove on a very low heat just to keep warm while we fry the shrimp. And you can see our pan is smoking hot. Make sure to dry off your shrimp tail as much as you can. The drier it is, the less it will stick. We just fry it from all sides. In a really hot pan, I would say it's a maximum of 90 seconds. So this is ready now. We'll take it and cut it up. So remember the steel rod. Make sure to take that out before you start trying to cut it. Now we take the top off. And we just slice it up. And this you can eat. Now we're ready to plate it. But before we do so, if you enjoyed the episode, hit that thumbs up button, like it. That really helps me to get my videos out there to a wider audience that can enjoy it just as much as you're doing. Now let's plate it up. There we go. And back to our Beurre Blanc, we'll do the last blitz. Just to get it nice and foamy. Grab a big spoon. Now for our chili oil. And our Japanese pepper. And I had some radish shoots, so we'll add them as well. But this is our Carabinero in our Yuzu Kosho Beurre Blanc. Let's dig in. Now to the best part. This really is pretty fantastic. And the Beurre Blanc is such a versatile sauce. You can go in very many directions with it. Bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna go get a spoon. Because this sauce, I could swim in it. It's really heaven. Now, if you've been following the channel for a longer time, you know that I love seafood. And I made a similar dish to this with carabinieri, but not Japanese inspired. It was with the deep fat fried carabinieri legs to add the crunch. I'll add a link here if you want to watch that. But I think it's a relatively simple dish, but when you serve it, people will die because it's so good, especially the Beurre Blanc. I hope you enjoyed the episode. This is it for today. If you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe, check the bell icon. In general, support the channel, show me some love, leave a comment below. But that's it for today. Take care. Bye-bye.